Hello world, welcome back to the Razor RC, and we're getting close to the end of 2021, and what I like to do at the end of every year is do a quick recap of all the RC cars we got over the past 12 months and then pick a winner, what I think is the best RC car of the last 12 months that we picked up. So I think there's like 14 or 15 different vehicles. I'm going to do a quick recap of every vehicle in the order we got them starting from 12 months ago. That would be the X-Ray XB4C that we see here, and then saving my top three for the end and going down in order what I thought was the best vehicle. So it has nothing to do with the performance, the durability, the price, or anything like that. It's just the RC cars I like the best that I got in the last 12 months. They don't even have to be new for 2021 or anything like that. Just the RC cars I liked and why I like them. So kicking it off, we do have the X-Ray XB4C. I did a recent shootout of this and the Team Associated B74.1, the TLR22X4, and the Schumacher Cougar LD2, and this was actually my winner of that four-wheel drive comparison, but it is not my top RC car of the year. Quick look at the vehicle. Just fantastic little 10-scale four-wheel drive buggy. It drives awesome. I love it. The performance is great. The durability is great. The parts quality is like unmatched. It's made by X-Ray, which is pretty much like the highest quality manufacturer out there. But why did it not win? Well, honestly, it's just not that much different. For better or for worse, almost every four-wheel drive buggy is kind of all the same. The Schumacher is definitely different, but this, the 22X4, the B74.1, they're all very, very similar. They did make some updates to this with the two-way slipper, the different angles and the outdrives to keep everything all centered. It is a great car, and I do like driving it, but it just didn't really have that little extra something. Not really X-Ray's fault, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really excite any passion within me, so it did not win. But great buggy overall. Definitely within my top 5, and you know, I do like it a lot. Next up is the Racing Kaiju. Super fun vehicle. Probably the best bargain vehicle I also got in the last 12 months. Sells for, I think, $420 at the time of this video. 6S capable, large tires and wheels, definitely able to handle a lot of different terrain. Pretty durable overall. It does have a few weaknesses, and I need to make a video about kind of the 5 must-have upgrades for this. But fantastic truck, runs great on 4S, runs great on 6S. A little bit of weakness here in the bumper and some of these outdrives and stuff like that. But a fantastic RC car. One of the real winners, I think, from Red Cat. Probably their best RC car, in my opinion. Super glad to have picked this up. So I do like this a lot. And I don't know what else there is to say. Just a great RC car overall. Next up is the Team Corrali Dementor V2. One of only 2 RC cars I do not have anymore. I did actually sell it to my buddy Racing to Learn. So go check out his channel if you want to find more Dementor content. Crazy car. Probably the first car I've ever owned that I felt like was almost like uncontrollable. It has a ridiculous amount of power. It's got the big tires, short wheelbase, just insane. It probably does like quadruple backflips, standing backflips, all that stuff. But the reason I sold it, it just didn't quite have the durability that I was looking for. I do feel like there are some weaknesses. I do feel like the XTR line is a little bit better. Or you at least need to get some of those XTR parts. So I did sell that, but insane vehicle. I did do a comparison with the Notorious V5 as well. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just an insane car. It is demented, but a little bit difficult to drive, or actually very difficult to drive. And not quite there with the durability in my opinion. So yeah, I sold it. Next we have the Team Associated T6.2 two-wheel drive stadium race truck, of course, and I think it's the only stadium truck I picked up over the last year. Great little truck, drives awesome, a lot of durability. Not my favorite stadium truck. I do like the Storm a little bit better from Schumacher Racing. I feel like it drives a little bit better on carpet, which is what my local track is. But T6.2, always a strong contender in the stadium market, or stadium truck market, and definitely a great vehicle, obviously based off the B6.2. Not much else to say. You know, they did make some small improvements over the T6.1, which I also had, but you know, this doesn't get a whole lot of runtime for me. In general, I don't run a lot of Stadium Truck in general. And overall, I do prefer the Storm, but you know, great little truck, especially if you're here in the US, easier to get parts, better support, and more setup. So yeah, great little truck overall. And then we have the Arrma Notorious V5. Again, the other vehicle I don't own anymore. I did buy an Arrma Notorious V5. Great truck, honestly. One of my favorite RC cars I picked up in the last year. So you're probably wondering, why did I sell it? Well, because they released the Outcast 6S EXP. In general, I do like the EXP or XTR versions of the A-scale stuff better than the regular versions. Notorious, great truck. I sold it to another buddy of mine for a really great price. He's having a ton of fun with it, going insane with that thing, and I liked it a lot. Just had a couple of little minor issues I had. I felt like the chassis was a little bit too easy to bend, some other parts, and the EXP one, in my opinion, kind of fixes all those issues. So I did get an Outcast 6S EXP, ended up selling my Notorious V5 as a result. Then we got the Team Corrali Punisher. I still have it, as you can see here. Just an insane vehicle, like all Team Corrali's, just heavily overpowered. If you want to go fast, this is the one to do it. It definitely handles a lot more easily than the Dementor. The Dementor with that short wheelbase is harder to control. This one, it is somewhat tamed down because it's got the longer wheelbase, doesn't try to instant backflip like all the time. So I do like this a little bit better than the Dementor. That's why I kept this one. Obviously a competitor to the Creighton, which I also have, but just in a more insane package. I feel like the durability would not quite as good as the Arrma stuff, but the speed, the handling is definitely better. And so yeah, I'm keeping this guy. I do like this truck. I wouldn't recommend setting this, more like 30 feet high in the air. I did find that stuff breaks, even though you would land on all fours. But, if you keep it, sort of 10, 15 feet high, I think it does survive and actually work pretty well. There are a couple other little weaknesses. I do recommend getting some of these XTR alloy pieces up front. They do add some stiffness, add some more durability, allow you to survive those massive jumps a little bit better. So, yeah, good little truck. It does need a few little improvements, but once you make those, it does handle really, really well and can handle some punishment as well. After that, we got the Team Associated B6.3, the latest in the long line of Team Associated two-wheel drive race buggies, sporting my favorite paint scheme of the year. So I like this paint scheme a lot, although I stopped using it because I realized that dark gray on a gray racetrack makes it really hard to see. I'm getting a little older, I guess, so having a hard time seeing this, but I do like the way the color scheme works. I've had every Team Associated two-wheel drive buggy since the B5, so I did have to get this. This is the carpet edition, but yeah, fantastic buggy. If you're new to racing, always a good choice to go with Team Associated. You really can't go wrong with the B6.3 or the D version if you want the dirt version. Just great, high quality. They obviously improve every year. Pretty minor changes on this one as compared to the B6.2. I also had that. But if you're getting a new buggy, I do recommend picking up the latest. I know some people buy used ones or whatever, but I think it's worth kind of getting the latest stuff. That way you always have better part support, maintain their value a little bit better. And so yeah, great little buggy. One of my favorites. So I guess I lied. I did get another stadium truck in the last 12 months. The Arrma Vorteks 4x4 3S BLX. Fantastic little four-wheel drive stadium truck. I have a lot of fun with this. I did expect this to be kind of just like the same as a Granite, maybe with just smaller tires and probably handling the same, but it's actually quite a bit different than the Granite. Probably a little bit more of a do-everything type vehicle. You can backflip this thing. You do need some better tires. I did kind of set mine up a little bit more for like racing, kind of a lightweight type race truck, but fun overall. Just needs some better tires and some small improvements, and I think it handles pretty well. But yeah, this is one of the vehicles I am definitely keeping in my arsenal. It does have its own purpose. I think it's great for like backyard racetracks, that kind of thing. So yeah, fantastic little truck. And oddly enough, I like this a lot more than I thought I was going to, so it is a keeper in my book. Then we got my first large-scale RC car. This is the Arrma Outcast 8S EXP. I think I got this in August of 2021. I never had anything bigger than 8 scale, so this was a little bit of a shock with how big, heavy, and massive this thing is. But a lot of fun. Obviously fairly expensive, especially once you add in all the electronics and stuff. I was not used to working on a vehicle as big. I had to bust out like the 4mm hexes and stuff like that, which I'm not really used to. 5mm, I think even 8mm, some 24mm hexes on the wheel nuts. So yeah, definitely different overall. I have kind of, you know, some mixed feelings about this vehicle. It is crazy. I did try to send this thing like 30 feet high, but I do feel like it kind of breaks once you go up that high, even landing it cleanly. So has its own limitations. Not my favorite Arrma. I know a lot of people like this, but in my opinion, I do like the 6S 8th scale stuff a little bit better. They do handle better, jump a little higher, and don't break quite as easily in my opinion. But interesting truck. Glad to have it. I am keeping it, but it is kind of an insane vehicle. Then we got my first HPI racing vehicle. This is the Bullet MT Flux 4-wheel drive little monster truck. I did realize that they dropped the price on this. I think it's $370 now here in the US, which is quite a bit better than the $450 I think they were selling for before. But yeah, this is an interesting vehicle. Definitely had some durability issues out of the box. There are a bunch of aluminum parts I do think you need to get: the knuckles, the spindles, the rear hubs, maybe even the CVA. So you do need to make some durability upgrades. That's not too bad. You know, I do actually still run this once in a while. I do think it's an interesting enough vehicle. Has that kind of funky battery compartment. But I do also feel like, you know, it's feeling a little dated at this point. It's been around like 15, 20 years, something like that. So it is getting up there and still kind of has the performance, durability, all that stuff of like a 15 and 20-year-old vehicle at this point. So good looking truck. It is interesting. I am actually keeping this thing, believe it or not. I know, you know, some of my videos I felt like it had some durability issues, but I do kind of like this in a weird kind of way. So anyways, HPI Bullet MT Flux, not the 2021 car of the year, but still something in my collection. Then we got the Tekno EB48 2.0. And honestly, this thing probably has a good chance to be 2021 RC car of the year, except that I just haven't been able to drive it that much in the last month or so that I've had it. So I have bashed it, but it's been raining. I've had, you know, haven't been able to actually hit the 8th scale track that we have out here in the Bay Area. So I need to do that. Test this thing on a real racetrack, which is where it honestly belongs, obviously. I've bashed it and took it out to my local BMX park and sent it like 20 feet high, but that's not really what this thing was designed for. So I don't feel properly equipped to give my full opinion on this because I just haven't been able to drive it in the right type of environment. But I have had a lot of fun with this. I've never had an 8th scale buggy before, so that was kind of a revelation. I loved my 10 scale 4-wheel drive buggy, so the 8th scale versions, I can see why people like this. It is a lot of fun. I do like 8th scale. I wish they had a 8th scale track closer to me, but I need to get out there and find out how this thing performs, drive it a lot more in its proper environment, and then we'll have a better opinion of it. But unfortunately, due to a lack of experience and a lack of driving time, this is not my choice for 2021 RC car of the year, although it theoretically could be if I had more time on it. Kind of the same story with my next RC car, the Traxxas X Max. Picked this up, I don't know, maybe a month ago or something like that. Again, have not had enough time with this RC car. I have taken it out a few times, did some bashing, some huge sends, that kind of thing, but don't honestly have enough battery packs through this to give my full opinion. So this is not going to win 2021 RC car of the year. I know a lot of people really like this, and this is like their favorite RC car out there. I have enough wheel time with this to know that it's not my favorite RC car, although I can see why people really like it. I mean, it is quite durable. It actually handles quite well for something that's so big, high center of gravity, you know, kind of narrow, all that stuff. Doesn't look like it would actually drive that well or be that much fun, but it actually is. I do like it a lot. It's not my favorite RC car of all time. I do have enough time with it to know that it's just, I don't know, I'm not huge into kind of these tall monster trucks, especially at this scale. I do like the 8th scale stuff a little bit better, so it is a cool RC car and definitely a keeper for me, but not my favorite RC car of 2021. And lastly, the most recent vehicle I got is this, the Traxxas E-Revo 2.0. Apologies, this thing is filthy. I've been driving it a lot lately. If you had to ask me between this and the X-Max, I actually like this quite a bit better. I think it's a lot more fun of a vehicle. Not as durable, of course, but it handles way better. I think the acceleration is a lot better. Just more fun truck to tune, kind of mess around, play with. The X-Max, it's just kind of a thing, but there's not a whole lot to do with it. But the Revo, honestly, I've had a lot of fun with this. This is actually one of my favorite RC cars. One of the better ones I got this year, but not in the top 3. And so yeah, we'll count down my top 3. If you've been paying attention, there are 3 vehicles noticeably absent out of this list, and we'll get into what I thought was best going from 3rd to 1st. We've talked about the rest. It's time to talk about the best. So we're counting down the top 3 RC cars for me of the last year. And coming at number 3 is the Arrma Outcast 6S EXB. This is honestly what I consider to be the best Arrma out there. Not that I've had every single Arrma ever made, but for me, this is the most fun, the most durable, kind of the most flexible vehicle as well. It's kind of the culmination of everything Arrma has learned about how to make an RC car. They've been known for being, basically the leader in the 1/8 scale 6S RTR type market. The Outcast is one of their signature vehicles, probably this in the Crane. I like the Outcast a little bit better. I also have the Crane 6S EXB, but to me, this is basically the perfect Arrma. I mean, they've gone through 5 generations of different versions of the 6S lineup, and this again is another step forward with the EXB version. Obviously has all the aluminum upgrades, all the 7075 parts, the beefier shocks, the beefier turnbuckles. It's just got everything that they've learned through, I don't know, what is it, like 5 or 6 years now of making these 1/8 scale 6S vehicles, and it's just fantastic. I mean, there are some downsides. This does come as an RTR, so it does come with the Spectrum electronics and motor, which in my opinion are a little bit down on power compared to other offerings from even Traxxas or Team Corrale, so a little bit on the slow side, but this thing is just a blast to drive. Handles pretty rough terrain, just even as an all-purpose vehicle. This is a fantastic truck, and I personally like sending it, doing triple backflips, all that kind of stuff, and this can handle it. It's probably the most durable Arrma, I think, in their entire lineup, even more than their 5th scale stuff, even more than their plastic stuff. This to me is kind of the pinnacle for Arrma, and comes in 3rd place in the last 12 months. In 2nd place is a car that kind of surprised me. It kind of snuck up on how good this thing was. And picking this up, I think about 6 months or 8 months ago, I was not expecting a whole lot because I did have a Schumacher Cougar LD or laydown, and then they revised it, the Schumacher Cougar LD2. Fantastic little 2-wheel drive race buggy. This has kind of taken over from the Team Associate B6.3 that I normally would race as my favorite 2-wheel drive race buggy. I don't know what it is. I mean, it just performs amazing, just drives really, really well. Obviously, my local track is carpet, so Schumachers are a little more optimized for those high traction surfaces, but fantastic buggy, super fun to drive, just performs really well. Really no major complaints about it, other than the design is a little bit weird. Schumachers, to me, are still kind of on the weird side, but they did redesign the front end. It's got this crazy carbon fiber chassis, super lightweight, direct drive, a lot of provisions for different weights. I got all the brass setups and stuff, and once you put this thing together, once you get that setup right, it drives awesome, and super happy with it. Did fix a bunch of things I didn't like about the original Cougar laydown, so improved battery strap, the front end is a little bit better, a little bit on the tight end on the front, and there are some things about the shocks I don't like, but overall, I have to admit, this thing drives amazing. A lot of people are doing well with this on carpet, so for me personally, this comes in 2nd place, one of my favorite RC cars in the past year. And that brings us to the winner, my favorite RC car of the past year, the 2021 RC car of the year, or truck, whatever you want to call it, is the Tekno MT410. Huge fan of this truck. I do like monster trucks. I do like race trucks. This is kind of a combination of both. What Tekno did was take essentially a SC410, 5.3 chassis, throw on basically the EB48 arms, front end, rear end, kind of slap it all together and come up with what they call a monster truck. It's really more of a stunt truck in my opinion, with the truggy arms and the short wheelbase, but it drives awesome. It handles amazing. It obviously handles more like a race truck than it does, say, your typical RTR basher. Super high quality components, high durability. I don't think it's the most durable basher out there, but it is still high on the durability department, and a lot of tunability options, which I really like. Out of the box, does need some setup work to get it to drive amazing. Doesn't steer particularly well, but with some changes, and I do have videos on that. Yeah, this thing is super fun to drive. You can send it high. It runs totally fine on 4S power. You don't have to run 6S. Just fun, durable, and easy to drive. A lot of control, a lot of drivability in this vehicle. It does have some downsides. The battery compartment is a little screwed up, a little too close to the center drive here. Tends to get kind of chewed up. Some plastic pieces here on the chassis, this little top plate and stuff do break. I always bend screws on the rear bumper, but nothing really breaks. I mean, you can generally always drive this thing home even after a hard day of bashing. So super fun vehicle. My favorite car of the past 12 months. I don't even drive it that much, honestly, because it's just so capable. There's not a whole lot to really think about with it. I've talked about this in the past, but with the amount of control you have with this vehicle, you actually make fewer mistakes, and that also again leads to improved durability because you're not crashing that much. Like I feel like I almost never crash this vehicle, whereas the other vehicles out there with less control, a little bit harder to drive, you're obviously crashing more. So yeah, this is my favorite RC car of the past 12 months. Tekno MT410. I know it's not new for 2021, but even so, even with all these new releases over the past year, this was my favorite. I think it's the best RC car I've gotten in the last year. So if you haven't checked one of these out, if you're on the fence, definitely check it out, because it is still worth picking up, even 3 or 4 years later. So hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. Look for more videos soon. And thanks for watching.